I was hoping after that Boston series that I could come here and say that was a blip on the radar, won't happen again. The Yankees had an off series and it got overshadowed by one of the biggest trades that could have happened all season. But during this Los Angeles Angels series, the only thing I could think about was three words: that was avoidable. This whole series and this whole stretch has been avoidable. And I'm not talking about game two. Game two, the Yankees bats did not come alive. There was not an opportunity for us to win that game. Specifically, games 1 and games 3 had me fuming at the Yankees just because they don't know how to win a game when it's close. What's going on, guys? King of Honor 61st Gen. I'm back with another video and let's get into it, shall we? Game 1. I know this isn't the earliest time that this happened, but let's start in the bottom of the ninth. Giancarlo Stanton, he gets a double down the line. They take him out and they put in Jason Dominguez. And then they have Jazz coming up. Or what does Jazz Chisholm do? A, put down a bunt. B, try to pull the ball on the ground in order to move the runner over, or C, try to hit a home run and strike out. All of you who watch this series know it's letter C. Jazz was one of the only bright spots of this series and of this stretch as a whole. He's the only one who's been hitting since he got back from the injured list. But this was a moment that was unacceptable. You have a moment to finally put up runs after having over 20 innings of no run scored. I don't know if at that point it was at over 20, but it eventually got to over 20. You had a chance to put a stop to that right there. You had a chance to win the game right there. You move him over, then it's up to the next guy to just put the ball in play, and Jason Dominguez more than likely scored. And he takes these big daddy hacks and strikes out. And I get it, I know. In that situation, especially with a team struggling, he wants to put the team on his back in that situation. I get the mindset. Here's my problem. That mindset needs to be kicked out of you by the coaching staff, whether that's James Rousing, the hitting coach, or the fucking manager, Aaron Boone. Situations like that just kept popping up for the New York Yankees, and it costed them mightily. Let's go to game 3. Game 3, you're down 1. You finally were able to put runs up on the board. Jazz gets you on the board for the first time. Cody Bellinger was able to get you back on the board and give you a lead. Ryan Yarbrough gives up the home run to Joe Adell. Okay, fine. It's a 2-2 ball game. You have Trent Grisham up with first and second, nobody out in the bottom of the 8th after Anthony Volpe gives up one of the worst attempts at a double play that you'll ever see to give the Angels back that lead. You have a chance to just erase that right here. If you place down that bunt and you get Judge up, he's going to get intentionally walked. That brings up Cody Bellinger with bases loaded, 1 out. And what does Cody Bellinger do really well? He hits the ball in the fucking air. These are all common knowledge if you know anything about the New York Yankees. And he tried placing down that bunt 3 times and was able to get balls on 2 of them. It was a 2-1 count. Why in the fuck does the bunt signal get lifted? And I get it. The Yankees are not a team that loves the bunt. They are a team that are very analytical and they think that 3 hacks at it is better than 2. There's certain moments in the game where you have to avoid the analytics and play the game of fucking baseball. That was the moment right there. You have to do whatever it takes to get that 1 run on the board. At that moment, it doesn't matter if you have an opportunity to get 2 or 3. You need 1. And I know the analytics will say it's a better chance of getting multiple if you let them hit it 3 times. You didn't need multiple. You needed to extend that game and eventually try and win it. But you had to take that 1 step at a time. That 1 step is supposed to be getting the tying run in. They take the bunt sign off and Trent Grisham just hits a lazy fly ball into the middle of the infield. This team has decided that because they are in a slump, they are now obligated to have to swing through it. They are now obligated to have to slug their way out of this slump. That is the dumbest shit I have ever seen. And that mentality is coming from one of only 2 people. Maybe a couple more assistants are in there, but there's only 2 voices, but really only 1. If you want to say James Rousing because he's the hitting coach, but he's really supposed to be implementing the ideas of the guy who's in charge the manager of this team, Aaron Boone. I don't love blaming Aaron Boone for all of this. He's not the reason this team went 30 innings without scoring a run. That's on the player. Aaron Boone is not the reason for that, but he is the reason why he let 2 games slip away. This was a winnable ass series. And I know every single time the summer comes around, the Yankees find themselves in one of these predicaments. I don't think that's on Aaron Boone either. I think that's more on the side of coincidence than not. But at the same time, when you see situations like this where you could have gotten out of this slump by just playing the game of baseball, and you would think because he is a player that played back in the 90s, you would think that he'd want to revert back to his playing days, but he's the exact opposite. He wants to avoid that. And I'm not the usual suspect that's gonna come here and say, analytics are so bad for the game. Analytics suck. But in certain situations, you have to put the calculator away and just get a feel for the game. You've lost 5 in a row. You have an opportunity to make up for your young shortstop's debacle, and we'll get to that in a second. And you decide after he sees 3 pitches, 2 of them were terrible pitches, that, oh, it's time for him to swing. That's the most brain dead thing I've ever seen. So am I blaming Aaron Boone for this team not scoring? No, I am blaming Aaron Boone that we are still on a 6-game losing streak now, and we're not 2-4. I don't think he had any play in Boston. Boston was just a rough series, whatever. This series was so winnable, and it comes down to just simple baseball techniques. But let's get back to the players, because I'm done blaming the manager. Anthony Volpe has to be better. If your bat is not going to perform like an all-star bat, and look, I get it. Other than this 6-game slide where no one's been hitting, Anthony Volpe's actually been pretty good this year. I've been one of the bigger sympathizers of Anthony Volpe. But if you're going to not hit at an ultra all-star level at shortstop, that gold glove better be coming every single fucking night. The fact that you let that ball eat you up is inexcusable. You see that second bounce, you got to charge right into it. A middle school play. This is not a complex play. This is middle school activity. I don't know how you missed that after winning a gold glove in your career. Your career has only been 2.5 years at this point, and you already have a gold glove. Yet when the time calls for it, where you need to give your pitcher a break, you need to let this offense have a chance to win the game. This offense finally scored. They had a lead, and this game is tied. Fernando Cruz, who has been solid all year. Yes, his control has been off as of late, and it showed up in this game. I'm not going to give him a full pass for this. He walked 3 batters. He put us in that situation. But Anthony Volpe, Tim Hill is on that mound. He had him in a 2-strike count, and he made his fucking pitch. He saved Fernando Cruz, and you went and botched that ball. That is inexcusable behavior. Inexcusable. Especially knowing that you're supposed to be, at this point in your career, a fielding first shortstop. Am I giving up on Anthony Volpe because of this? No. But this was a major red flag. What does Anthony Volpe look like in crunch time? I know he hit that grand slam in the World Series, but we were down 3-0 at that point. He had a good playoff run, so I'll give him a chance to prove it again. But this is a bad sign for when the time gets to it and the Yankees need to win a game. This is one of the worst case scenarios for a team that had one of the biggest leads in the division in baseball, to now having Tampa, who's been hot during this streak, now nipping at our heels. We once had a 7-game lead on this division, possibly even 8. Tampa is now 1.5 back. The Yankees were once 42-25. We are now 42-31. Again, that is not a terrible record, and this thing can be flipped around. We've got another game against LA tomorrow, or as today as you're seeing this. They have an opportunity to salvage 1 game out of this 4-game set, but losing a series to LA after getting swept by Boston, a terrible look. And these couple games where the Yankees had it in their grasp and just decided to give it to LA is a terrible sign moving forward. Hopefully the Yankees can right the ship, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new. Hopefully the Yankees can avoid getting swept. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Streams might be coming soon, especially if we lose tomorrow. I'm out of here. Take care and peace.